Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Did you witness an argument between your husband and the defendant Tuesday before the murder?
Yes. I walked into the gallery and Tobin was yelling at my husband. There was a wooden chair broken between them.
What did James Tobin say to your husband?
He was yelling, "If you go public with this insurance fraud, it'll be the end of the gallery." Zack responded, "The gallery will survive." And Tobin moved forward and pointed his finger in his face and yelled, "The gallery may survive, but you won't."
And then?
I stepped between them. I wanted to get Zack out of there.
Was the gallery alarm system functioning at the time of the theft?
No, it had been turned off.
At whose direction?
James Tobin's.
Did the defendant give you a reason?
Yes. He said it had been going off sporadically without warning. He said we should turn it off until we could get it fixed.
Was it ever checked out?
Oh, yes. Immediately after the theft, I called. The repair woman said she had worked on it and couldn't get it to malfunction once. I still have her paperwork.
Ms. Barnes, wasn't your husband a co-beneficiary in the policy that covered the paintings?
Yes.
What was the amount of money he was due to receive?
I'm not sure, but I resent this line of questioning.
Ms. Barnes, please.
All that's left is his good name. Now you want to ruin that?
I'll withdraw the question. Was the gallery a financial success?
Oh, absolutely. It was one of the most successful small galleries on the West Coast.
Had it been profitable recently?
No.
Why?
James Tobin, completely against everyone's advice, changed his style of painting. His last show didn't sell well, and that created a cash flow problem for Zachary.
Wasn't this crisis so serious that your late husband feared losing the business?
I suppose.
Would Zack's share of the insurance money have saved the gallery?
Yes. Why?
In fact, Ms. Barnes, couldn't your husband have been involved in the theft?
Objection calls for a... On second thought, objection withdrawn.
No. The answer is no, and I have proof.
Proof?
Just before the fight, I heard a message on the answering machine. I kept the tape.
Objection. It's ridiculous.
Your Honor, this is just as much a surprise to me as...
The witness will surrender the tape and the court will recess to consider admissibility.
Zack, this is James. If you get the message...
James. Sorry, let me click this damn thing off. How the hell with it? It just keeps
Listen,
going.
Zack, you can't do this. If word gets around, it won't be just me in trouble. We'll both lose frickin' everything. You just take your share of the money and shut up.
I can't do that.
Zack, don't you get self-righteous with me. Word of this will not get out, because if it does, then you will...
On the morning of March 13th at approximately 9 a.m., you and Ms. Garcia left the gallery to go to a meeting, is that correct?
Yes.
And the two of you returned early because the meeting was canceled?
Postponed, correct.
And Ms. Garcia dropped you off and went to park the car?
Yes, I was about a block away in the alley behind the gallery.
Please describe for the jury what you saw at that point.
I saw James Tobin outside the back door of the gallery jimmying it with a crowbar. He saw me coming, so he went back in.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Could you see what he was wearing?
Yes, he was wearing a black T-shirt with the gallery logo on back.
In your initial interview, you told Inspector Looper that Tobin also had a yellow bundle. Can you tell me what that bundle actually was?
I'm out of patience, Mr. Granger. Limit your questions to what the witness saw. The jury will draw the conclusions.
What happened next?
I heard a shot from inside as I came to the door, so I unlocked it and went inside.
What did you see there?
My husband's body lying crumpled on the ground. Tobin lying nearby holding his leg and moaning.
And what was the physical state of the gallery?
The tabletop had been broken. There were shards of glass everywhere. Some of them lying in the pool of my husband's blood. And I remember a cash box lying upside down on the floor.
What did you do?
I tried to help my husband, then called 911.
Did the defendant explain what happened?
Yes. As soon as I opened the door and saw Zack, Tobin started explaining about the fight he and Zack had, about how the table got broken and how he got shot.
Did he explain why the cash box was on the floor?
No, he couldn't explain that. It didn't fit in with his new fight story. It was left over from his attempt to fake the break-in.
Miss Barnes, did you have knowledge of any firearms kept on the premises of the Barnes Gallery?
Yes, the one that killed my husband.
Was this your gun?
No, I borrowed it from my husband's cousin, Daryl. A Vietnamese woman across the way was attacked, and I felt I needed it for protection.
Did you discuss this with your husband?
Yes, he became quite upset and insisted that we take it down to the gallery for safekeeping.
Did he tell you where he put it?
Yes, in his office desk in a drawer.
If it pleases the court, I would like to read a few lines from Inspector Looper's interrogation of the defendant, Mr. Tobin, conducted on the afternoon of the murder.
The defense objects. How is this possibly relevant?
Your Honor, it reflects on the witness's understanding of the significance of the line of questioning and therefore her motive to tell the truth.
All right, objection overruled.
I read from page 15 of the transcript wherein the defendant says, quote, Zack had a scheme going with the art insurance. He was trying to get me to go along, but I wouldn't. So he was afraid he'd lose his little gallery and have to rely 100% on his wife's career. Ultimately, he was a real loser. I'm telling you, Zack brought the gun. Zack tried to kill me in cold blood. Unquote. Do you understand what's at stake in this trial?
Counselor, do not patronize me. Yes, I do.
Do you understand that the defendant in this case admits he killed Mr. Barnes?
Yes,
but
I do.
What's at stake here likely revolves around who brought the weapon to the murder site?
I understand.
Ms. Barnes, I will ask you once again, do you know how the gun belonging to your cousin got to the gallery?
I brought it.
And why did you bring it?
I brought it to threaten my husband.
Your husband?
Yes.
Could you tell us why you intended to threaten your husband?
I found out he'd been sleeping with Ruby. He'd written her a letter on the computer, and I came across it accidentally.
Did you speak to him about it?
Not at first. Zachary's cousin, Daryl, the police officer, he and his family were in Hawaii on vacation, and we'd been watching the place for them, so I went over there to be alone.
What did you do there?
I called Zack. He denied everything. He'd never lied to me before. So I got a gun. I got the gun that Daryl kept in the cedar box under his bed. I don't know what I plan to do with it. Shoot myself, shoot Zack, whatever. When I got home, Zack was staring down into his lunch. I remember a bowl of tomato soup, and a cheese sandwich. We looked at each other for a long moment, and then we both burst into tears. We talked for hours. I don't know if I'd ever felt closer to him. Then I remembered the gun and told him about it.
What was his reaction?
He couldn't believe it. He laughed and said he was going to tell the mayor on me. He said, "I didn't realize you were Sister 45. Zack didn't want a gun in the house. So he suggested that we take it down to the gallery until I could get it back to Daryl." He really did hate guns.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Barnes, did you see your husband take the gun into the gallery?
I saw him leave our loft with it, yes.
But did you see him actually go into the gallery with it?
I didn't follow him across the street, if that's what you mean.
Do you recognize this shirt?
Yes, it's Tobin's. He wore it the morning of the crime.
Alleged crime, Miss Barnes.
Call it what you will.
Ladies, please.
You will notice it's yellow, or more accurately, ochre. Yet you say he had on a black t-shirt.
He put on the black shirt after he killed Zack. He certainly couldn't wear the bloody one outside, so he took it off and used it to hide the gun on his way to dump both of them. When I saw him outside the door, he went back into the gallery and changed into that shirt again.
Oh, preposterous. When was there time for him to change shirts? You followed him right into the gallery.
As a matter of fact, there was plenty of time. I had to walk about a block, then I had to open the door, which I found out Tobin had double locked. By the time I looked in the bottom of my bag
Miss
to find
Barnes,
the
thank you.
second
You've
key.
answered the question. Now I have another. When you went into the gallery, you saw evidence of a fight, correct?
No, there was no fight. Tobin killed Zack and afterward made it look as though there'd
Please,
been a
Miss
fight.
Barnes, just answer the questions. This story of yours about Tobin playing dress-up and faking both a struggle and a break-in is entertaining, but you don't have any evidence to support it, do you?
No, just what I saw.
Granger, you gotta put me up there.
Remember last time Charleston cross-examined you? You broke into tears.
Oh, bull doo-doo.
What?
BS, you made that up.
No more questions, Your Honor. I'm done with the witness.
Well, that's all for today. Court is adjourned until tomorrow. And, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me once again admonish you not to discuss this case with anyone, not even your family. You know, if something leaks out to the...
I understand it was a day of surprises at the trial, Frank.
You bet it was. The widow and mayor's press secretary, Miss Yvonne Barnes, dropped a bombshell when she produced a sensational tape of the accused actually threatening her husband.
Had it been entered into evidence?
No, it came as a complete surprise. She had apparently been keeping this phone message a secret because it implicated her husband as well as Tobin in an art theft scam.
Why did she produce it at all?
Hard to say, Laura, but I think the prosecutor was able to convince her that if she held anything back, her husband's murderer might walk.
So she spilled everything.
She sure did.
Anything else?
Through extremely skilled examination by the prosecution, Ms. Barnes was coached into telling a riveting story of how the defendant tried to cover up the alleged murder by faking a break-in.
This might help with a first-degree conviction, correct?
It certainly could, because it implies premeditation.
Thank you, Frank. We are joined by Channel 2's own legal expert, Dr. Fleece. In your assessment, how did it go today?
Granger displayed an extraordinary display of legal acumen and courtroom skills in getting Yvonne Barnes to admit that she was the one who brought the murder weapon to the murder scene. I saw 12 jurors' jaws drop.
Thank you, Dick. This is Channel 2, news you can use. How have the civil wars raging all over the world affected weapon stocks? When we come back, Channel 2's business reporter with some tips.
Does the prosecution wish to call another witness?